Hello everyone, welcome. It is our Facebook Live interview time. So Joy, if you are watching, if you are able to comment and let me know that you are on, that'll be great, and then I'll be able to add you and we can start our interview, which is really exciting. I'm just deciding about the lighting though. I think hopefully it'll be okay, and Joy will be the star of the show, so to speak. I'm wanting to not make it too dark, but to allow enough light that that you can see properly. So I can see that somebody's watching, and as I say, if you are there, Joy, and you are able to, I'm going to invite you, assuming you will be in the group. An invite has been sent. So let's see how we go with that. Hopefully you'll be on. Wonderful. Bring them on camera. Okay. I'm going to do that now, Joy. That's great. Oops, sorry. Once the phone gets stable, that might help. I will. Yes, hi, Joy. Just see whether that's actually, bring on camera.
Hello.
Already there. Wonderful. Yes. We did it really quickly this time, or I did really quickly this time as opposed to other times.
Indeed.
Well, obviously repetition means that there's, a little bit of skill that's developed. It's an interesting little beast, Facebook Live, I think.
The more you do it.
Yeah, exactly right. I've just got to say, hi, Tricia. How are you? Thanks for joining. I've just got to say I love your backdrop with you, your crystal there in the background. It just looks gorgeous. Yeah. Is that amethyst?
It's amethyst.
Sally's on
Amethyst cave.
Yeah.
Hi, Sally.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Hello, ladies. Thanks for joining. All right, let's get started. So, Joy, can you just tell us a little bit about what it is that you do? I did put a little bit of a bio in the event, but I'd love you to tell us live. And what was just briefly, what was your journey that led you to be doing this?
Yeah, so I say when life throws you challenges, you need joy in your life. And that doesn't mean literally myself. It literally means that's when you need the power of positivity, the power of happiness and joy. And when you've got life challenges, that is the time you're not even thinking about being happy, let alone joyful, because life challenges from grief to chronic illness or redundancy, that's actually the times when you're really stressed and overwhelmed and everything is just very hard. And of course we need to have our body in the optimum frame, including our mind and our body and our emotions. So by using techniques where you think about things that made you happy, or using mindfulness techniques and having the support of someone who's been there, that actually brings your body back into a state that gives you optimum level to cope with your situation. So it's like it's the worst time and you need to think of the best time things to bring it all back into an even keel. And the journey that brought me to doing this, I've actually, like most people, have a story. I grew up with a mum who was chronically ill all my life. And I lost my sister-in-law and even worse, my husband over 21 years ago with 2 young children. So I know this stuff works. It doesn't make it easy. I never say it makes it easy. It does, however, give you tools and techniques to get through those situations in a better way than if you are in that vortex of emotions and overwhelm and anxiety where you just can't think clearly at all.
Yes, that's wonderful. So you've got the lived experience, which I think means that you really understand, you're empathic into what people might be going through, those sort of emotions, even though the circumstances might be different. Yeah. And at what point, at what point do you recommend, if someone was wanting to work with you, to actually get the best out of it? Is it in the time that they're actually perhaps have those emotions that are really strong, or is it after, or is there a best time?
Question. It's a really great question, because when you've just been told you may have cancer or
Excuse me.
you've lost someone who is so important in your life, you're just so busy being in this swirl of, oh my God, life is different, it's never going to be the same. And that actually is the time when you really need the support. However, it's the time when there's so much going on that people aren't thinking about working with a positive psychology person or trying to be positive. However, that would be the optimum time. And it just brings that level of calm down. It gives them direction of where they can go. And it's just simple tools and techniques that they can use in those situations that they're going to face over the next month, 6 months, year, whatever it's going to be. However, in saying that as well, if you find that you are in that spiral and you can't get out and time has gone on, obviously then you need that support as well, because you're stuck in that situation, and that's where you need that little bit of support and guidance to start moving through that. So look, I think the best time is at the time that situation occurs.
And how would you actually work with somebody, say if they came to you at that time? Is it individually tailored? Is there certain things that you tend to suggest for clients? How do you work with them?
Yeah, look, it would be tailored for each person because each situation is different. However, there are some
Sure.
techniques that I give to everyone. You know, my 3 minute to calm method is a mindfulness method, and you can use that anywhere. So if you're in a situation where you're being anxious, that is something I would give to someone. So if they're waiting in a doctor's clinic, or they're organising a funeral, or they're facing up to not having any work tomorrow, they can use that technique, which then allows them to think clearly. So I give them a set of techniques that I think would work for them. However, it is really individual. It depends on, you know, their level of what they their agreements. You know, some people don't like hypnotherapy. I use hypnotherapy. Others I'll use positive psychology. Others will be just a series of techniques that they can use just to get them to focus, and then provide additional support or coaching after that. So it really is very tailored to the person. And it's not just
That's
the person.
great.
Yeah, it's the ripple. You know, it often is the families that
Excuse me.
need that support as well, and friends who don't know what to say to the person. So there's that
Yes.
ripple effect out as well.
Do you
And
ever work? Oh, sorry.
I was just
Sorry,
going to
you
say,
continue.
I don't know if you know Barry Devoir on the Living Room, who had
Yes,
recently
yes.
faced his challenge. And he actually stated recently that it was the power of positivity and mindfulness meditations that got him through, and he believes was one of the biggest tools for getting him through his recent battle. Now, he chose to do medical intervention and that as well. But I really believe that all that together, as he said, makes such a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great, and yes, he's a really good example. So when
yeah,
you what I was going to say is when you mention about, as you say, it's not just the or it's not only the person themselves. It is that ripple effect. It's others around them. Is there
yeah.
any situations where or times where you actually work with more than the person themselves, and maybe a family member or something like that together, or do you tend to work with people individually?
The majority of my work is individual. However, I do couple work. So I've done a lot of work with people who are finding there's a disconnect in the relationship. Not necessarily they've fallen out of love. They just feel that something is not right. There's always a niggle, or there's a word that triggers. So in that situation, we do couples. But I've actually been into hospitals where families have been challenged with a diagnosis for a family member, and we've actually supported them there. And you know, they're saying, what do we say, what do we do? I don't want to cry in front of them. Do I cry in front of them? You know, all that sort of thing. And it's really just giving them the tools to calm down. And it's much like productivity, is that once you can think clearly, you really know what you need to do. So it's really
Yep.
just being that person who's calm, who is empathetic, who knows the situation they're in, and everyone's is different, but the emotions are very similar, and just them knowing that you've been through it and experienced it, then they actually will listen, and even just listening, then they start to talk, and then they usually get the answers. So it's just sort of like that anchor in a rough sea.
Yeah, oh, that's a lovely analogy, because that anchor is it's a little bit more solid and certain, so to speak, in a really turbulent time. So great
Yeah.
analogy. Yeah, I've just noticed Sally has said two awesome ladies, which is lovely. Obviously referring to you and me, Joy.
Hi,
And I just
Sally.
wanted to remind if anyone's watching, or for those who are, any questions you've got for Joy, any comments, please put them in the comments section below. We'd love to receive them. So you mentioned before, Joy, about positive psychology. And I think it might be something that a number of people have heard, but perhaps don't really have a good sense of what it is. Would you mind telling us for a few minutes what it is and how you use, I think you've probably alluded to that a little bit, but if there's anything more you wanted to ask, or sorry, let us know about how you use it, how it relates to joy.
Yeah. Well, people think of psychology as you go there for months and years and years and years. I've been seeing my psychiatrist or my psychologist for years, and where positive psychology fits into that mold, what we focus on is we actually focus on what's right in your life rather than the deficit model, which is the usual psychology model. So, someone comes to me and I never ask the history. I don't say, what happened when you were 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever it is. They're coming to me for a reason. And during those discussions, the things that they want to work on will be what's actually right for them. And so that's really what it is. It's focusing on what is right, what is the positives in your life, using your individual strengths to get what you want. So, there's that statement of living the life you desire and deserve. Well, how do we do that in a manner that suits you individually? So some people love Excel spreadsheets. Their strength is Excel spreadsheets. So I wouldn't give them 10 crystals to work on getting a goal. I would give them an Excel spreadsheet with all the things that, all their goals that they need, and they can color code it and do that. Whereas if it was someone who was into the spiritual side, then I'll go, well, your strengths are creative in that. Well, let's do a canvas on what are the goals, what are your strengths, how can we use those? Having those strengths doesn't mean that one's right or wrong. It just means that we use those strengths, which makes getting to your goals easier. So, as I said, if you're an Excel spreadsheet person or a data person, well, then I'd give you those sort of things. Here's an Excel spreadsheet. Go and put it in there. So let me know how you're tracking. Tell me how many crystals you've used. How many times did you have to get the smoky quartz or the amethyst out for the spiritual person? How many times did you need to meditate? So positive psychology is very much about your strengths, your values and beliefs. So similar to coaching, but very much focused on what's right and moving through that by using your individual strengths and your positivity. And it's a really interesting study because they found that, and this will make sense to people. I haven't got the stats with me, but there was a study that is called the happiness effect. And it shows that, say, I'm happy and you are my friend, and you will be 15% more likely to be happy because you know me. However, because you know me, your friends' friends will also be, I think it's 10% happier, and then your friends' friends will be 7% happier. So if I could write a script for everyone to be happy, imagine the ripple effect that we'd have for people. So the benefit is not just for ourselves to be positive and creating that ripple. It is actually what we do for ourselves actually then starts giving in a good way, affecting other people as well. And just want to clear up one misconception, because people say positive psychology is happyology. And it's definitely not focusing on being happy all the time. It is normal to have emotions. It is normal to acknowledge those, and it's a normal to work through them. It's what we do with those emotions, how we note them, what we put around them, that is the important thing. So just wanted to say, it's not just happy, happy, happy all the time. So
right, okay, thank you. That's really helpful, because I must admit I probably thought that it was, but then again, going back to what you were saying before about some of the people that you work with and the circumstances they are in, then it wouldn't be feasible to be able to be happy, happy, happy all the time. How can you when you're in the middle of, as you said, that turbulent ocean? So that's great that there's the techniques that guides them, if I've got it correct, perhaps over time, towards, as you said, it's working on the strengths that they have, and in that sort of upward movement. And I love the fact that you don't even ask their history. My goodness, that's really like, wow.
Look, most of that comes out, when you tap into being intuitive as well. You tend to, people will tell you what they need you to know. So whatever conversation they give you, that will be the thing subconsciously that is coming out. If what's coming out here and their body language is different, well, there's something else there, and we can work through that through techniques. But it's really about where they are now and where they want to go to, and how do we make it easy? Because once you've done one thing and ticked off a goal, or you've found that you're in a stressful situation and you can actually be calm, and say you're going to a dentist, and every time you go to the dentist you just like and you use the 3 minute to calm, or you acknowledge you're nervous and go, well, actually I'm nervous. All right, that's interesting. Let's just get through this, because it changes your mindset. Instead of going, well, you shouldn't be nervous, it's stupid, you're an adult, da 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 da. Just acknowledge it, and then you can move through that.
Oh, that's great. So it's self-acceptance as well, and not judging ourselves, which a lot of us unfortunately tend to do. And I would imagine when we're in really stressful situations, we're probably even more likely to self-judge, because we want to regain some control. And as you say, acknowledging those emotions, which certainly from my own experience and what I've learned along the way, is if we suppress them, then they show up some way or another.
Absolutely.
So better to acknowledge them.
And one of the biggest tips go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, someone like you to help guide that, to make that, as comfortable as the word that comes to my mind as possible, given the circumstances.
Yeah, and we use mindfulness a lot, and I say mindfulness is like a defib. You see those medical shows where the heart's going, in fibrillation, and it just can't get its beat back, so they give it a shock. What happens with your limbic brain when you're overwhelmed and you're stressed? It's like that. It's like, I can't think, I'm angry, I just can't think, I don't know what to do, I should be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. Whereas if you take a breath and you go, okay, this is yes, I'm feeling angry. It's like a defib. It actually brings it down. It's like shock. Okay, let's get through this. Yes, I'm angry, or that person just cut me off, or whatever it is, and then you can move on, and it becomes that you think clearly again. So it's like the heart gets its rhythm back. The mind can start thinking where it needs to go.
Oh, that's great. It's like getting them back to a normal heartbeat and a normal whatever a more positive or a more self-serving rhythm, for want of a better word. Yeah, that's great. Joy, you mentioned a little bit before about you were talking about the Excel spreadsheet, if people are into that, and then, you know, more the, you know, the crystals sort of, and that reminded me, because that's just the way I tend to think of left brain and right brain. And
Yeah.
I wondered, yeah, is that something that you particularly focus on with your work? Because, of course, that's something that I do in mine. And I just wondered, so you have, is it intuitively that you work out the way that the person might want to take in and utilize the ways that you help them? How does the creativity, spirituality, perhaps in particular, how does it, how, you know, if somebody
How do I
is wanting to work that
identify?
way,
Yes.
yeah, and then
Well, I
work
do
with them,
strengths,
yeah,
yeah, strengths based. So I take
okay,
them through a strength based quiz. It's not quiz, it's a series of questions. And I also marry that up with, so that's questions. And if people go, no, oh, I've got to do all these questions, that really indicates with me already what people are like. Whereas if I say, I just want to see how happy you are in life, and I've got a series of things for that, you know, they're a bit easier. So happy
mm,
questions automatically gives me, just when I give them those two things, gives me an indication. Um,
mm,
but yes, I do a strength-based questionnaire, and then that
mm-hmm,
shows me their values as well. And just through discussion, you know, if I say I'm a
mm,
positive psychology and wellbeing practitioner, then you see how they respond, and then I say I do hypnotherapy and timeline and all of that, and you see how they respond to that. So again, it's just watching and seeing which words they resonate with, pretty much like any coach, any
mm,
counsellor, anyone. You're watching their
mm.
body language, you're watching how they respond, and that really indicates, or it gives you an indicator of where they sort of sit and how far you can push them woo-woo, or how far I would use the psychology tools.
That's great. Thank you. So as
Yeah,
you said before, you can really tailor it depending on which ways the person, you know, prefers to work, which is great. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the way that I
absolutely.
love to do it too.
Yeah. I've got one client who loves a list. What have I got to do this week? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've
Mm,
got another one who likes to draw it. Okay, let's draw down 5 flowers. What are you going to put in each one? Another one
mm,
likes me just to ring and just go, how you going, and have a chat, because she doesn't like doing the list. She doesn't feel lists are important.
mm.
So
Yep.
very much tailored to what is going to work. Because if I can't tailor myself to them, I'm not going to be the right person. I'm not living what
Well,
I'm
that's
teaching
right.
them. Yeah,
That's right. And yeah, they're not going to be as receptive to it and be able to take on what it is that you're wanting to give them, and have the transformation and the support that you're wanting to give them.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So,
that leads us on then, I think, to more broadly around productivity. As you
yeah,
know, that's my specialty. So I'm interested. I know for myself, I think that joy is such an integral part of productivity. My God, why else do we want to do stuff if we don't want
yes,
to have some joy out of it? And you know, it's actually something, yeah, that, you know, like in the you know, the theme day of this group is play on one of them, and creative me, and we talked a little bit about creativity just then. So can you just talk with us for a few minutes around how, what do you see might be the connections or links between joy and productivity? And if you had any tips that relate to that area, or any comments that we could take away with us?
certainly. So as I said right at the start, when life throws you challenges, you need joy in your life, and I mean that
Mm,
literally from the emotion, um, because there's so much science and so much research that shows you that um, when you don't have that joy and laughter or that happiness in your life, things are hard. But if you think about it, if you're in the middle of doing a project and you're stressed and everything, it's hard. And it gets harder.
mm,
The harder it becomes, the harder it becomes to be happy about it. However, if you have a break, what research has shown is that even if you just watch one of those funny cat videos on YouTube, what happens is the dopamine gets released. So that's the happy hormone. You actually reduce your stress, your muscles relax, you take in more oxygen, and that thins out the blood, it increases your brain productivity, and you feel damn good. So,
Yeah.
there's all the mind and body. The mind and the body are just so linked that what you're thinking, your body is going to react to. So, when you're depressed or stressed over a period of time, and I'm talking serious depression, the cells in your brain actually shrink. And they've shown that, imagine that, all those cells up there, they're just literally are tight, and your whole body is just sad the whole time. And they did this study where they gave them comics to read, and they put on funny home video things every night, and they found that those cells actually began returning to normal. And they also found that people started to talk more to people, whereas they used to just sit by themselves. By having the comics, it actually involved a connection, because they'd laugh and someone would go, "What are you laughing at?" And that would start the connection. But the funny home videos, and you think about it, when you have a good belly laugh, you automatically feel better. So the mind and body, as soon as you get that, lower blood pressure, you get that dopamine, you get more oxygen, and what happens is you start to think clearly. So if you're working on a project and you're stuck, walk away, make a cup of tea, watch something funny. I allow you to watch YouTube or something that you think is funny, and then go back, and you will feel so much more focused, and you will be able to get the solution to what you've been stuck on.
I love that. I totally agree. I sort of suggest to people that, there's nothing wrong with being in the news feed, for instance, of Facebook, but make it perhaps a reward and a switching off. And that seems to be what you're saying. And of course, you've got more, you've got the research to sort of back that up. And it can actually, what also I know that can happen is that if we're working on something and we want to solve a problem or work out a different way of doing something, switching off to something like what you're talking about, having the good belly laugh, when we get back to it, because our unconscious will work on it while we're doing that other stuff.
Absolutely.
And probably more productively than if we were still sitting there, not having any belly laughs, not having any fun, and trying to rack our brains to get the solution. So I'm loving what you're saying.
Fib. It's going, I need to come up with it, I need to come up with it, I need to come up with it. Take that breath.
Yep.
Have that bit of laughter, that bit of downtime, and then it's like when you're trying to remember someone's name. You go, "Oh, that person." And then when do you think of that person? It's usually a few hours later, or it's when you're talking to someone or having a laugh, and you go, "Oh, it was Fred." It's because you're not focusing on it. It's because you've taken a break and you've given your mind a chance to just slow down.
That's great. So one question before then I ask you about what your current services are. How can we do a bit of joy each day for all of us here to actually, maximize our productivity, but just, obviously there's lots of other benefits as well, but what are some of the things that you might suggest that we could be doing if we're not doing them already?
Yep. So I suggest that you write down a list of 5 things that you absolutely know fill your heart with joy. And that could be walking on the beach. It could be hearing your kids laugh. It could be having a long bath. It could be feeling the grass under your feet. It could be reading a book, having a cup of tea in a beautiful china mug. Those sort of things. What just make you feel happy? What fills your heart with joy? It's like what makes your heart sing, but it's really what fills your heart with joy. Family is usually the top one. The beach is a big one for me, you know, things like that. Write them down and have them near your computer. If you're going to use this as a tool for productivity, have them near your computer, and then pick out one of them when you're stuck or you're frustrated or you're angry, and look at it and just look at those words and imagine that that's happening. You may be tickling your kids, or you're having a cup of tea, or you don't even have to leave your desk. You don't have to stop what you're doing for long. And then close your eyes and really feel it, really see it, really hear it, taste it if it's food, something you enjoy. And just do that for a couple of minutes, because as soon as your mind reads that sentence, it'll go there. So if I have there, I love walking along the beach, my mind goes there. I can see it. I know where I am. I know which beach it is. You might think of another beach, and whoever else is on here may think of another beach. But then look at the sentence, start to go there, close your eyes, see, feel, hear, taste, whatever it is around you, and then come back. And that's the same benefit. You've filled your heart with joy. You've got those emotions that make you feel great. You've released that dopamine. You've lowered your blood pressure. You've got that oxygen because you breathe slower when you're feeling great. The brain will start to focus. It stops this fibrillation, and then you'll be right. So that's a really simple,
that sounds
tip
beautiful.
Yeah, so put down 5.
That's so great.
If you think of more, do that.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. And that's easy to do. You know, that's actually not going to take too much time or too much, you know, hard work on our part. So I just love that. Thank you. That's such great advice. And it's those little things, isn't it, that the more that we do them, you know, there's more of an effect that happens, I would think, a cumulative effect. Would you agree?
Absolutely. The more you do, as soon as you look at number 1, you'll know it's the beach. And you'll look at number 2, you'll know it's the kids laughing. And as soon as you do it, you'll just close your eyes and go there. So this is what positive psychology is about. The more you do it, the more you'll go into that positive mode. So if I have a bad day, or I've had a bad situation or something, I'll just go, oh, do you know what? Yes, that was no good. I call it my power of joy. It's like a cloak. If something does go wrong or annoys me or something, instead of my emotions going all the way down here and then all the way back there or into rage or whatever, it's more a lower dip. That's how I explain it. So you still acknowledge it, but I don't tend to go down and take so long to get up. So yeah, the more you do it, absolutely, the quicker you will come out of it.
Oh, that's great. That's really, really good suggestions there, Joy. And I haven't actually written down 5 before and sort of done it perhaps as in the way that you've suggested. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to commit to that today.
And share how it goes.
I will, definitely. Thank you. So as a last question, can I ask you can you share what offerings you have, your services, if there's something in particular coming up that you'd love to let people know about? What can you tell us about that, Joy?
Well, look, if people like those sort of tips, I have a free book that they can get, which is called 5 Top Tips and the Whys, because it's all very well giving you the top tip. People want to know, or the people who have strengths who want the detail, want to know why it's going to work. So I can give you that link, and that's free, but that sort of gives you the examples, and you'll find lots of things in there that relate to productivity, you know, problem solving and things like that. So that's a free one. I have a retreat coming up in June, and it's all using mindfulness, mindful methods, which is all about nurturing. It's all about nurturing your inner power. So how can we use what is yours? What is your strength? And if you go on a retreat, you love to be nurtured. You don't want to be, well, there are some retreats. Some people might want to be up at 9 and 10 and have lunch at 12 and do all of that. My retreats are very much about nurturing. They're all gentle, simple, quick tips that you can implement. There's the ripple effect is what I'm trying to do with the retreats, is create that ripple in a weekend, that then these people go out and create that ripple and it goes on. So that's on the 22nd to the 24th of June. It is deliberately put on the weekend before the end of financial year requirements, because if you go on the retreat, you will be able to cope better with those end of financial year requirements. So I have deliberately put it on there. People have said, "You're mad, do it after." And I'm like, no, it's deliberately done for that reason, so that all the stuff you need to do for FY, you'll be able to cope with so much better. So that's at Healesville, 22nd to 24th of June. And it's a great girls' weekend as well. There's shared rooms if you want, or single rooms. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I've got Bron Williams, who's a member of this group, is a guest presenter. And I've also got Kate Castle, who's coming to do a beautiful luxury treatment on us all. So it should be a good weekend.
Sounds divine. That's great. And of course, that's Healesville in Victoria and Australia for those who might be watching overseas. So that's great. That sounds really good. So if people want to find out more information about that, or contact you generally about what other services and that you offer, how should people contact you? What's the best way?
Look, I really love just talking to people. You know, I'm the joy. I love the personal touch. I'm very much a nurturer.
Literally.
So you'll get all the details off my website, phone number and everything on there. So that is mindbodyjoy.com.au, and that's my business, all about linking mind, body and joy. And that's got the retreat details and everything in there. The top tips is not on the website because I give that as a special to people. So I'll give you the link and people can grab that for free as well if they'd like to. So, yeah, just go on the website or on Facebook. I am very active on Facebook. So I have my business page. So I'm on there every day. So if you want to send me a message through there, I'm happy to reply.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Joy. Is there a last something you want to leave us with, a comment or a question for us to consider, something like that?
I say to you that we're creating tomorrow's memories today, so make them good ones. So you need to make sure you fill every single day with joy.
Oh, that's beautiful. I've got goosebumps. That's so gorgeous. That really sums up, I think, what we've been talking about and what it is that that you do. So thank you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned particularly the science, the research side, which is really, I find is really interesting, and really love the idea of what you're doing. So important with people's challenging times in their lives. So it's great what you do. So thank you again. Yes, please put the link to the ebook. Is that right? Was it an ebook?
Yep. You can print it off.
Is that right?
Back to front on here. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, okay. In the comments below, and of course, encouraging everyone to watch the replay as well. I know we've had Deb watching, so thank you, Deb. And any questions or comments people have got, they can add to the comments after the video is finished. That's not a problem. Would that be all right, Joy, if there were any questions that you could be answering in the comments? Wonderful. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Joy. You love questions?
Yes.
Is that what you said? Sorry, it was a bit of delay there. Oh, that's great. I'm sure you'll be able to answer them really well. So thank you so much, Joy. Again, it was wonderful, and I'll see you in the group and around in the meantime.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, you too. Bye.